Assalamu alaikum. Hamid wal Aksan. Maaga yega wa Yarub Farid. Boca Magala, Minneapolis. This election means this is a moment for unity, where the entire Somali community can come together and say, this is our people, this is our city, we are united behind each other.
What? That's in, hold on, let me check my notes. Minneapolis? Joining me now, Dustin Grage, wonderful columnist with townhall.com. Hey, Dustin, I'm just confirming, that is in Minneapolis, Minnesota, right?
That is correct. That is in Minneapolis, Minnesota.
Okay. So this is where we are now in order to win the Democrat primary in a major American city, a formerly wonderful city, I should note, that you have to habla the lingo or what?
Yeah, it's quite fascinating how electoral politics have kind of happened in this country, let alone just in a small city here. Minneapolis is a relatively small city in terms of some of these other major populaces, but we also just happen to have the largest concentration of Somali immigrants in the entire country. I want to say something like 90% or 80% of all of them in the entire United States live in a 7-county metro of Minnesota, the Minneapolis, Twin Cities, St. Paul area. So yeah, it's kind of come to that point where in order to win, in particular in Democrat primary, you have to really dig into a certain population, which I want to say is maybe 8% of this metro. But that small of a concentration, if you were able to actually get into that demographic and win over their votes, in particular, just really hammering down at a certain clan within that population and be able to turn out their vote, because you can, one, speak the language, and two, target these individuals because whatever reason that it might benefit them, that you can actually go win a mayoral election.
Okay, Dustin, before we go on, I need you to go ahead and explain what you just said. A clan? We have now clan wars? What?
Yeah, it's quite fascinating. And I've been talking about this since, I don't know, probably 2018 now. There have actually been 4 Somali candidates that have run since that time in the state of Minnesota as Republicans. All 4 cases, all 4 of those candidates have requested I run their campaigns, because I actually am quite in depth with the Somali community here in Minnesota. Not as much as was before in Minneapolis. There's actually another neighboring area by St. Cloud, Minnesota. It's in the central part of the state. That's where I went to college, at St. Cloud State University, and where I ultimately got my start with the Somali community. A lot of the elders, when they came over here after the Siad Bar regime, which is socialism, borderline communism, they like all the things that kind of come from Russia and Hitler and all these different terrible ideologies, but they brought that over here, and a lot of the individuals that actually ended up translating those tons to word are from the St. Cloud community where I went to college. So I got into these communities a little bit already. I've known a lot of their business leaders that are more on the conservative side of things, and we've worked in small parts to try to bring more of those over to our side, because they are here legally, unfortunately. It's just part of those roadblocks you have to kind of come apart to try to take away votes from the Democrats. But yeah, when you're talking about a Democrat primary, it just brings it to a completely different level in which you have to try to go get those votes. And in this case, Mayor Fry almost speaks better Somali than Omar Fattah, which is kind of funny when you talk to some of those Somali activists, and it's paid off for him.
Oh, jeez. Okay, Dustin, I'm sorry, but I just can't get over this. Exactly how did we end up with so many Somalis that we have clan wars to get elected mayor in Minneapolis? What is the history of this? I know you're boned up on this stuff.
Yeah. So you'd actually have to go back to Siad Barre, the former ruler of Somalia, way back in the day. That was in the early 1990s. And yeah, the wars kind of come over here. Somaliland, which is actually a country north of Somalia. This is when Siad Barre was actually basically committing genocide with between these two countries, trying to basically have a regime up there. And a lot of people are starting to finally click onto this, but one of Siad Barre's main colonels in his army was actually the father of Ilhan Omar. So she's actually a big part of this entire process, and why, kind of why socialism has kind of come over. Well, her dad was under a socialist regime, and she's kind of carried those politics over here, which is why she probably doesn't mind as much going back, because she'd be going back into socialism again. She's actually a part of a minority clan here in Minneapolis. Granted, they hold most of the power in the Minneapolis area, whether it be political acumen, having insider ways about getting donors, political organizers, people who know how the politics actually work in Minneapolis to get elected, because the three main Somali individuals who are elected to political office are all a part of that clan, the clan that holds the power. But Mayor Fry isn't a dumb guy. He realizes that these clan wars are occurring, and they actually are part of the minority clan. So, hey, what if I go over to these majority clans, get in with them, and actually try to vie for their vote? We can actually outnumber and end up coming down to basically the margin of victory. We're only talking about 8% of the Minneapolis community. It's not that much, but it can play a major role if you know how to actually get into those communities and vie for their vote. And he decided to go after the majority clan in those clan wars that have gone all the way back to genocide in the early 1990s with Somalia. But at the end of the day, a lot of people don't realize that the Somali community have some conservative roots to them. And in this case, they care about family and not aborting their children. So as these new generations come along, they're going to reproduce. And that's a major reality that we're facing here in Minnesota. So you do have to vie for their vote. And especially if you have a majority chunk of those clans from those clan wars, you can win some elections, not just now, but 2, 4, 6, 8 years from now as they become voting age.
Good God. Dustin, thank you. That was illuminating. Thank you. I would thank you for coming to my YouTube channel, but I know how brilliant it is, and I know you love it here. So subscribe and watch. We're going to start really ramping things up and putting some funny stuff, some interesting stuff out there, some collaborations. Either way, my YouTube channel is officially the place to be. So stick around.